When a father walks into a police station to report a body in his home, the truth was more horrifying and shocking than anyone could have imagined. Joshua Burgess, 35, turned himself in. He admitted that for 22 hours he tortured his own daughter and ultimately brought her demise.
Deputies say this young girl from Union County, with her entire life ahead of her, was murdered by her own father.
A father accused of killing his own daughter.
Killing his teenage daughter, now facing additional charges.
What dreadful circumstances led this father to torture, rape, and murder his own teenage daughter? Today on Crime Diaries, we head to North Carolina to explore the case of Zaria Burgess. Zaria Jocelyn Burgess was born on December 23, 2003. The teenager was the daughter of Akeisha Pope and Joshua Lee Burgess. She was an ever-smiling, sweet, and happy girl.
She's the type of kid that would come in the room or come in the house and say, hey, everybody, just wanting to make everybody laugh.
Zaria was an active member of the school's marching band. She was about to become a sophomore at Monroe High School. Due to her parents' separation, she lived with her mom in Union County, North Carolina, USA. Her dad seemed to be involved in his daughter's life, and the two of them were very close. Joshua referred to Zaria as his mini-me. He constantly bragged about her, how much he loved her, and how he wouldn't trade her for anything in the world. "I love this little angel more than anything. Nothing beats quality time with my daughter," Joshua said. Zaria, who lived with her biological mother, had been visiting her father for the weekend at his home located in the 5100 block of Hampton Meadows Road. In August 2019, Zaria visited her father at his home on Hampton Meadows Road, off Airport in Monroe. Little did she know it would be her final visit. During Zaria's visit, on August 18, 2019, Joshua Burgess killed his 15-year-old daughter by slitting her throat after psychologically and sexually torturing her for 22 hours at his home. After committing the heinous crimes, Burgess, at approximately 9:24 a.m. that day, walked into the lobby of the Union County Sheriff's Office and told one of the dispatchers that he was there to turn himself in for murder. Once the dispatcher began inquiring about his name and searching for possible arrest warrants, Burgess told her she would not find his name and that he had just killed someone, the sheriff's office said in a press release at the time. Burgess gave further details, including the address where the victim was located, as well as the victim's identity. "The details of this murder are indescribable," Sheriff Eddie Cathy noted in a 2019 statement while he was handling the case. "Every officer and detective involved in this case are feeling the effects of what happened to this child. There is no logical answer to explain why this man did what he is accused of doing. Our hearts and prayers are with Zaria's mom and her family," he continued. According to the autopsy report from the medical examiner, 15-year-old Zaria Burgess died as the result of a sharp force injury to her neck. She had multiple bruises all over her body after she'd been tortured and sexually assaulted multiple times. It's speculated that Joshua was a white supremacist and that his daughter's murder was a ritual murder. That's because of Joshua's alleged Facebook activities. Joshua liked pages known to be anti-black, and he followed a page that possibly belonged to a satanic organization. Meanwhile, Joshua had posted some pretty disturbing content on his page. His post stated, "I really like cutting people. Oops, I meant things. I like cutting things." According to Joshua, he killed his daughter to get back at Zaria's mother because they didn't get along. However, investigators believe Joshua is pure evil, and his main motive was lust and control. Joshua Lee had been sentenced to death for the gut-wrenching crime. It's worth noting that the jury deliberated the subject for approximately 3 hours, and on top of the death sentence, Joshua Lee received an additional minimum of 76 years behind bars. Under North Carolina law, a jury must unanimously vote in favor of the death penalty. Otherwise, the defendant will be sentenced to life in prison. In this case, the jury was in perfect harmony to condemn the murderer with the death sentence. Joshua was charged with capital murder along with other felony charges. As expected, he pleaded not guilty to the death penalty. Nonetheless, he was found guilty of 1 count of first-degree murder, 1 count of statutory rape, 1 count of first-degree sexual exploitation of a minor, and 3 counts of statutory sex offenses. In the end, Joshua was sentenced to death by lethal injection for torturing, raping, and brutally murdering his daughter. He also received an additional minimum of 76 years behind bars. The same jury had previously found Burgess guilty on 1 count of first-degree murder, 1 count of statutory rape, 1 count of first-degree sexual exploitation of a minor, and 3 counts of statutory sex offenses. He was sentenced to an additional minimum of 76 years behind bars for those offenses. In a recent development in the case of Zaria Burgess, the autopsy report has been released, shedding new light on the circumstances of her tragic death. According to an article, the report revealed disturbing details about the extent of her injuries and the brutality of her murder. These details indicated how she begged for help and suffered at the hands of her own father. The release of this information has sent shockwaves through the community, reopening wounds for those who knew and loved Zaria. This reignited conversations about the need for action to prevent similar tragedies from occurring in the future. In a Facebook post following the initial sentencing, the sheriff's office thanked the DA's office for the work put in to secure Burgess's conviction. The sheriff's office referred to him as a truly evil criminal defendant. The death of Zaria Burgess had found a profound impact on her family, friends, and the wider community. Her death also sparked discussions about child abuse and domestic violence, and the importance of recognizing warning signs and taking action to prevent such heinous crimes from occurring. Zaria's death also drew attention to the need for improvements in child protection systems, particularly in cases involving custody disputes and domestic violence. The tragedy prompted discussions about how to better protect children who may be at risk of abuse or harm in their homes, and how to ensure that law enforcement and child protective services are equipped to respond to these situations effectively. Overall, the impact of Zaria Burgess's death on society is a reminder of the devastating consequences of domestic violence and child abuse. It underscores the need for continuous efforts to prevent and address these issues and to provide support and resources to those who are affected by them. Family members are trying to understand what would cause her own father to take her life. To reduce crime in your neighborhood, get to know the usual happenings so you're more likely to notice if something is wrong. Remember to stay up to date on criminal activity in your area and form a neighborhood watch so you and your neighbors can keep each other informed about any suspicious activity in the area. Zaria's murderer was sentenced to death and justice was served. Hopefully, her loved ones at the very least find comfort and move on, as her life could not be returned forever. Not only outside, make sure to always check inside your house. Who knows, maybe the father who you thought would protect you could be the one to take your life. What are your thoughts about the case of Zaria Burgess? Tell us in the comments section. Also, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to get the latest updates. This has been Crime Diaries, and until next time, don't be another statistic.